Bell, California. Take me out to the bleachers. Disgraced heavyweight former city administrator Robert Fatso Rizzo and his Bell buddies have already been charged with public corruption. But it wasn't just salary spiking that allowed the group to stay in the game. Files show they allegedly played the Bell Police Department baseball game, competing to issue tickets, impounded cars, and arrest motorists by signing singles, doubles, triples, and home runs. Great idea, boys. You're out. Boston, Massachusetts. It's a case of handicap smack for a former top cop and Marine. Elizar Gonzalez admitted to defrauding the city and faked injuries in a disability scam. Gonzalez was photographed walking and acting normally, then showed up at medical appointments using a cane and pretending he couldn't walk or talk. Hey, Gonzalez, I wouldn't let that cane out of your sight for the next 20. San Jose, California. An apple a day will put criminals away. A former Apple manager pled guilty to wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering for taking kickbacks in exchange for company secrets. Paul Devine gave Apple secrets to suppliers of iPhone and iPod accessories in exchange for payments. Hey, Paul, you just might find a whole new meaning for iTouch in the slammer. Good luck. And that's your corruption matrix.
According to the Government Accountability Office, government overlap is costing taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars. Take a look at some of these bloated programs, including 47 programs for job training and 20 offices devoted to homelessness and many, many more idiotic, wasteful programs, too numerous to mention. Here's what Oklahoma Senator Tom Coburn had to say about the findings. Quote, "This report will make us look like jackasses. Go study that. We'll show you why we're $14 trillion in debt." Let's bring it out to the panel. Artie, here's the report. 37 pages of overlaps, bloat. I thought we were going to get the line-by-line cuts. Go.
And what people should know, because this is really important, GOA is a nonpartisan entity, so they're supposed to be looking at this in a very neutral way. It's ineptitude. I mean, it goes back to what we're saying about the free market. If I ran my law practice like this, if we ran Fox News like this, we'd all be bankrupt. We'd all be, it's not corruption, it's ineptitude. It's just stupidity, it's laziness, it's all the words you want to put in there. Lack of attention to detail.
Speaking of attention to detail, Obama on the campaign trail in 08 said, I'm going to go line by line. I'm going to cut spending, waste, fraud, and abuse line. But here it is. Here's a chance. They found hundreds of billions of dollars.
Some of the things, well, two things. One, he hasn't done that, right? We can all agree that there's still plenty of fat here. There's still plenty of things that could be cut out. There's plenty of overlap. That's a problem. However, some of the things on that list, and I've looked at some of them, I don't think it's necessarily overlap. I think some of them are necessary, but there's still billions of dollars of things that shouldn't be there.
In all fairness, you're right. They're not outlining every dollar that's spent. They're saying, well, if there's $5 billion here, and then there's another program spending $4 billion on the same program, maybe they could cut that, maybe make it 7 instead of 9.
No, perhaps, but that's different. For example, with teacher quality, you know, we have all these multiple programs. There are multiple programs with multiple foci, right? That's okay. I'm not against that. However, on the whole, we're spending billions of dollars unnecessarily. I think we're all in agreement here. It's a problem.
What were you saying about CIA? You said you want to
get rid of CIA. That's the first on my list, man.
The CIA is about as efficient. I mean, our budget is probably the size of your salary, quite frankly, Eric. But you know what? We're going to end up with 12 commissions to study this problem, first of all. That's what they're going to do. They're going to form multiple commissions to resolve how to get to the bottom of this thing. Having spent time in the federal government, the idea that there's redundancy, the idea that there's overspend, it's shocking. I'm
I mean, look, what do you expect? This is government. There's always waste in government. That's par for the course. That's why you want to minimize how much government spends.
He wants to get rid of everything, though.
Because you don't have the market forces
so what do we get rid of?
What do we talked about. Look, we need to focus on more than just a couple $100 billion in waste. Even if we can get rid of all that waste, we still have a massive deficit well in excess.
So what do we cut?
We have to cut everything. We got to dramatically shrink government.
Department of what?
We got to cut defense. We got to cut
energy.
We got to cut the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. We got to slash government spending.
No, the White House could be a little smaller. Maybe they can hang out in the house.
The government is almost spending $4 trillion a year. We don't have the money. We're borrowing $1.6
You said you would cut national defense in half.
We have to cut it. In fact, we can cut our defense department in half.
You honestly believe this nation will be safe in defense?
Wait, I got to step in now. I got to step in. Wait.
We got to cut Social Security. We got to cut Medicare.
You can't seriously be talking about cutting the defense budget in half. But I will say, you know, there's service by service, and there's been a tradition in the military for as long as the military's been around. Each service wants to maintain its own territory, right? Its own development programs. So you do get waste in here because it has not been sufficiently streamlined. Now, I will say this to Defense Secretary Gates. Of all the people in the Obama administration at this point, and he, of course, came from previous administration, he does seem to be more focused on this in a practical manner than anybody else.
The main thing the federal government should do is defense. Everything else needs to be cut by war.
We need guns, right? We need muskets. That'll do it. Come on.
I just want to talk like a businessman. And as a businessman, if we ran this like a business, if you had to cut, Doc, if you had to cut 10%, 20%, you'd still figure out a way to make it work.
But this isn't
maybe not an ideally way. But why can't we run it like the private sector? It's my money. It's my tax money. Why should it be treated like the private sector? Why should there be that waste? It's my hard-earned money. If you're going to take it, then use it the best possible way you can. There's no excuse for that.
Because in the private sector, efficiency is the only thing we're worried about, right? Maximizing profit, right? If I were to take that same approach to schools, it might be cheaper to not spend twice as much money educating kids, but to let them fail in the world. Here's my point. The free market has winners and losers. There are certain aspects of the public sector where you cannot have winners.
And the real losers are the kids that are stuck in those public schools where there is no profit incentive, and they get no education.
And it doesn't work in the private sector.
It does work. Are you working out? You're huge. Got to leave it there. Up next,